Okay, so hello everybody. Thank you a lot for joining us for this webinar today. Our idea here is to share with you 6 important mindsets that we've learned during our years of experience studying, developing chatbots, and implementing Sophie around the world. Our plan is to present during 30 minutes, and then in the end, we have reserved 15 minutes for question coming from you, from the audience. Okay, so it's important to mention that this presentation will also be recorded and will be shared with you later. Okay, so let's start.
From my side, thank you guys. It's a pleasure to join you. Patricia will start the first slides and then I'll take over. Looking forward to talk with you in the end of the presentation.
Okay, so for those who doesn't know me, I'm Patricia. I've been working with Sophie for more than 5 years now, and recently I came also to join the Stefanini MAS team. Here with me it's Alex Vinetsky. He's our founder and CEO from Whoop Stefanini, venture who created Sophie, is constantly developing Sophie. So thank you, Alex, as well to join and present this webinar with me. Thank you a lot. Okay, so let's start. So first of all, I'd like to share one of our main principles when we think about Sophie, when we think about improving systems, creating new technologies. We want to connect with people, and this is how we want people connecting with us in a happy way. We want to have a really nice experience with Sophie, that the interaction between systems and people be the better one. Okay, so that's our principle. So we want this to be really good, not like this. Okay, so we don't want the experience with the technology be any difficult. We don't want to have to teach the user how to use our technology. We want people to understand by themselves what is need to do. Okay, so we really want to connect with people in this way. We must integrate with systems, but we interact with people. That's our main idea. So we want to provide those good experiences. And we know that the interface between people and systems are challenging in every single industry. And we accepted this challenge.
Patricia, just get back one, please.
Sure. Oops.
Here, yes, this one. One of the reasons Sophie was so well accepted over the years is that when we talk about user experience usually focus on the client-facing apps. So if you have a large chemical industry or a large retailer, they will be putting a lot of focus on whatever app they have to sell their final customer or their sales team. But there is a lot of opportunities within the many systems, the legacy systems they use internally. So I mean, it's very common for us to find ERPs or CRMs where people has to navigate through 2 screens, 3 screens, take information from one system and bring it to another system. And this is where Sophie excels. So, I mean, it's not to support the final user. It's not to support only the customer, but to make internal processes more efficient, to make the business run in a more efficient way. So instead of having to redesign a legacy system, I mean, you can just place Sophie there with their natural language capabilities, and immediately that old system becomes a new system doing exactly the same thing without having to change anything in your architecture, and it gets easier. You save time, you save money. Go ahead, Patricia. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. So first See my screen? One moment.
Yeah, you went on an echo mode. I think you are normal now.
Okay. Yeah. Sorry, something happened here. So first mindsets we would like to share is speak the same language. Okay. So what I mean here, we don't mean only languages when we talk about this, like English, Spanish, Portuguese, and so on, because Sophie can deal with it with not many problem, but we mean to engage, to comprehend people, to understand natural language, to understand your target way to communicate themselves. So we always improve Sophie in this focus to understand what the user is trying to say, to expand her capacity of comprehension. So to deal with this regarding that, Sophie has more than 3 million concepts being activated in her mind, and it's constantly expanding her knowledge to adapt, to change, and enhance her capacity of the in conversational ability. She can understand and memorize pieces of the context through several interactions, for example. She can learn new concepts based on user interaction and even understand the sentiment during a conversation, for example.
You are
So
failing again, Patricia. I hope I'm not. This one of the nicest stories about Sophie, actually. I mean, when he started the development 7 years ago, we decided to go
understand
to a
synonyms,
different.
title words, verbal tenses, and common expressions in a higher satisfaction.
Oh, there is a long delay from you. We decided to go through a different path than most of the players at the time. So we decided to use something called semantic networks instead of the normally used neural networks. And it's not a technical thing. I mean, over the years, while we developed this, we became recognized by a lot of very specialized people for having chosen this. And the end result, and I'll show a video of you of our lastly release by the end of this presentation, is that we made Sophie faster and easier to manage than most of the competitors we have around the world. So I mean, it's now a really competitive advantage, a real competitive advantage that we can show and we can explain not only on technical terms but on time terms. I mean, it's probably 30 to 40% easier to handle Sophie than a similar tool right now. And we are winning some very important competitions in major clients because of it.
Can you hear me well again?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Thank you, Alex, once again. Okay, so moving forward, second mindset I would like to share, data is king. So what I mean here is that it's really important for you to create and reserve some time to explore the content creation, to build your knowledge based on your target, on your company, to create empathy between the company and the user, to engage your user. Have in mind that Sophie can talk about many different things, and also your target can ask about many different things. So my advice is take a look at your target, try to understand what are they interested and what they are looking for. Then you can build your content all based on it and create a really nice relation between the user and the chatbot. This is really important to have adoption with Sophie and help your process. And this content creation, this improving of knowledge can be made in real time, Sophie. Actually, Sophie's panel, the area that we manage to create content, we call Knowledge Manager, is increasingly friendly to content creators, giving them autonomy to use the tool's maximum capacity. I mean, we really want to empower them autonomy to create a really nice content in Sophie to manage her knowledge and create something really interesting. We have some features like multiple answer, use of entities, personalization of some content, some concepts on Sophie's mind. So we have a really powerful tool on the hands that people that can create content. It doesn't need to have any specific skill to do that. And in many cases, actually, intelligence is perceived more in details than in so complex developments. So you can start small. You can create a really nice content that will engage your user through the conversation with Sophie, and she can give you orientation, many other information that will help your processes to flow better, to give information to the user, and this conversation be more natural as possible. So this is a really interesting thing. Third mindset, which is really simple, which is be where your user is. Okay, so it is much more efficient to be present in an environment in which the user is already used to. I mean, you don't have to encourage them to access other platforms, download applications, install programs, and only then, after all of this, there's a find Sophie, read Sophie, and talk to her. So my advice is to be in these platforms that your user is already used to. This is one of the main reasons why we dedicate ourselves to a lot to interfaces. So we already have Sophie integrated with Microsoft Teams, Facebook, Cisco Jabber, Skype for Business, and many others for that reason. And other interesting thing is that many of those interfaces has also mobile version, for example. So Sophie can be at the computer, at the mobile phone, in a single platform. So this is a really important part that you should have in mind. Be where your user is, be accessible, be flexible, be easier to reach, then the conversation will flow even better. So it's a really good advice that I would like to share with you guys.
Go ahead, advance another one. So, I mean, why people are using automation, or why people are using Sophie particularly? Because it gives them return. Right now, I mean, in most operations we are running, and we are running 130 operations around the world. We can show gains. We can show that we are saving time, we are saving money, we are giving people a better support than they had before. So it's not anymore something that people use because it's cool, because artificial intelligence is trendy. I mean, it's real. There is no operation in Brazil anymore, in either ITO or BPO, that's not using Sophie. There is no operation in North America anymore since last year that is not using Sophie. And the reason is not the same reason we had a few years ago, that it shows Stefanini is advancing AI capabilities and we are a modern company because of that. Is because we have results. We have operations right now running with 60% of all tickets going through Sophie. Actually, one of the operations Patricia manages has that number. We do not start any operation right now targeting anything less than 25% automation. And we are renewing contracts. We just renewed a very large contract in Brazil for another 3 years, because we had this first 3 years already with Sophie, with the normal difficulties in the beginning, but right now it's a reality. Sophie supporting not only ITO, but 5 or 6 different areas. So it's supporting applications, it's supporting human resources, it's supporting procurement, and more we have the means, the technical tools, and the experience to do that. And more than that, I mean, we can find the right problem, we can talk to the people, we can define the process, we can show how to implement it. We have a very solid methodology of implementation that we are actually sharing around the world. So, I mean, it's a reality. It helps us close deals. It helps us to have more profitable operations. Go ahead. We have many integrations. I mean, I will just jump over this, but I mean, there is not pretty much none large ITSM tool that we are not integrated to. There are no large CRM tool that we are not integrated to. There is no large ERP we are not integrated to. We have worked really hard in the integration of communication tools and phone systems right now. So, and I mean, even if we are not integrated right now, there will be an API, and this API will make it a reality to make the integration work. Actually, we were working on Teams, and it's very cool.
Yeah. And one thing that is also interesting about this is that Sophie was created inside home, so we have a lot of freedom to integrate with many different things. So this is also really nice.
And this is also an argument, because I mean, there are many smaller companies with chatbots are trying right now, and they have a difficult trying to navigate these very complex architectures that our clients have.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Another thing that we do right now is that we measure. I mean, so we have a variety of clients in this screen. I'm seeing HDI, Boticario. I don't recognize all the colors everywhere. But I mean, if we want to give results to our clients, I mean, we need to measure what's going on. So we know what Sophie getting right. We know what Sophie getting wrong. We know the number of tickets that are coming through Skype or Teams or WhatsApp. Or phone. We are putting all that information together, and that's not an information that's important to measure Sophie. It's important information that is important to measure the operation, so we know where the opportunity lies. What's the next step? Something interesting about Sophie, I mean, there is no an implementation of Sophie that stays where it is or where it was planned in the first batch or in the first wave. We always continue to improve. We always continue to make it better. We always continue to find new opportunities, new areas. And as I said, I mean, it's a reality in so many places right now that this tool helps us to think a better way, to look at our clients, to develop the relationship with our clients, and to make the operations, whatever area those operations are, more efficient, more rich, more interesting, and more profitable in the end for us. No
and also,
sound.
once we can
Yes.
see that information in real time, yeah, you can see this information, this data in real time, and you can also upgrade Sophie in real time, so that you can respond really fast to user inputs and these kind of things. So it's a really strong tool.
Go ahead. Now, I mean, some of the things that we are doing, and we are getting to the end of the presentation. Over the last, we have been working with phones for the best part of 5 years. But we had some huge developments on processing of natural language through phones in the last 2 to 3 years. And we put a lot of money and a lot of effort on that. Actually, it's where we have more people right now because we want to catch up with what we have on text. And we have some very impressive results. And again, this is a reality as well. So, I mean, we already have the phone system running and the IVR running. It's actually two different things. In some clients, we have IVR running in a very large gas company, customer facing in Brazil. So it's over 100,000 calls every month, handling connection requests and bill requests, and it's working really well. We have an integration right now. Many of our operations are requesting that we have human chat as well. So, I mean, Sophie is doing the automated chat. Sophie, in this case, is handling the initial wave of requests. And if that request is complex and cannot be handled by Sophie, we are immediately transboarding it, that's the word we are using in Portuguese, to someone on the other side that will support through chat as well. Already, I mean, some operations running like that, but I mean, our feeling is most of our operations will be working in that way. So, I mean, getting away from phone and using more text tools through Microsoft Teams, through Google, through WhatsApp. I mean, a lot of operations asking for WhatsApp. It was hard 6 months ago. It's very natural now. I mean, we can be up and running with WhatsApp in a couple of days. I mean, it's a native tool of Sophie right now. So, I mean, those are the ways the operations are moving to, and we have a very important breakthrough that we call Polymath, which is a new version of Sophie. Actually, I mean, we'll sell it as a separate product as well. But it's integrated with Sophie, and it's something capable of reading open text and immediately respond without any prior training. I became the presenter. Okay, show my screen. Okay, so this is something I want to show to you right now as we are approaching the end of our presentation. So, Patricia, can you see my screen?
Yes, yes.
Okay, so let me show this video here. So let me explain to you, this is the Polymath. So what's going on here, because it's very interesting. So this is a clean sheet Sophie. I mean, there is nothing in here but the Sophie brain. And what I'm doing is to go to a given website. This is obviously the World Health Organization. I'll copy the web page and paste on Sophie, and that will be all the training Sophie will have. She's right now processing the information that she got from the website, and it's actually the website and all the links contained on the website. And then I will go to the what I call the chatter, so the part where you speak with Sophie, and you start making questions to her about what she just read, and she will start not only to answer but to explain where she found it, because then if you need more references, you can go there and ask. I mean, very few companies in the world have something like this. Usually when you go to Watson Discovery, for instance, you have to tag things, you have to train things, you have a lot of work in order to automate some reading task. In this particular case, I mean, all you have to do is to give her, to feed her with a block of unstructured information, and she will be answering. So I mean, this is our obsession with speed. So I mean, how can we handle large quantities of data, of text, in an easier way? Because that's the plateau where our competitors had problems. I mean, we have many clients around the world using either Lewis or Watson, saying, I mean, when the amount of data became too big, the demands of training made it really hard for us to advance. So I mean, with the semantic networks that I explained before, and now with this, what we do is that we make the training process much faster for Sophie. Obviously, this will still need someone taking care of the information. This will still need a curator, and this is just the first version of the polymath, but it's already a breakthrough, and we are already trying it with many clients, because we can very quickly expand the areas of utilization of Sophie within a client if we can handle text this way. So I mean, we need people to review what's being done, and not to do everything. How do I stop it here? It's probably here. Okay. So I mean, that's what we had for now. I think we are within the established time frame, and now I mean, we are ready to answer your questions, Guy, your comments, or to show more stuff if you are interested. But I mean, for me, I mean, this opportunity to be with you is always very rich, because I want to hear you guys, and I want to hear how you feel in EMEA right now. As I said, I mean, we continue to gain experience. We continue to make this tool better, and I'm really happy that right now we have this opportunity to make it a reality in EMEA as well. And many thanks for your time this morning for me, this afternoon to you.
Thank you a lot, Alex. So we received a question here, which is, can Sophie be integrated with, in SAP for automation purpose?
Yes, we have many integrations with SAP. Boticário in Brazil that I was mentioning, its operation that I like a lot. Actually, I'll try to show it here. If Patricia is answering something, I'll go there and try to show it to you. But yes, we have it integrated with SAP for applications. I think with JD Edwards as well. In some other client, but the SAP and Salesforce, it's something that I want to mention, because there is a lot of clients right now asking for Salesforce integration for a lot of purposes. We already have it working, and right now we are working as well to be on the Salesforce marketplace, because they have a native chatbot there, but it's not very good. I don't know if it's called Einstein or something, but it's kind of limited. And Sophie being in the marketplace, I think it'll be a very strong argument for sales, because Salesforce is the new SAP. So I mean, exactly what people said about SAP 10 years ago, this is the application that will integrate everything. It's people are saying about Salesforce right now.
Good. That's another question here, is related to developing along the years. I guess you'll say something about this. So the question is, what is the difference on the chatbot market 3 years ago and right now?
I'll go 6 years ago, 3 years ago, and right now. So 6 years ago it was non-existent. So I mean, we were this crazy Don Quixotes trying to put artificial intelligence on service support. It sounded exciting, but I mean, no one had tried it before. 3 years ago we started the first implementations. It was tough. I mean, I always use the expression experience is the name we give to our mistakes. So, I mean, we got a lot of things wrong. We got a lot of assumptions wrong. We didn't understand clearly the role that the client would have to do and what we would have to do. And right now, as I said, it's an absolute reality. If we don't do that, our competitors would be pitching that. But the good thing, and I'm really proud of that, we started before anyone else, and we have as much experience as any vendor in the world right now. It's not me saying, it's Gartner saying. So I mean, if we read the Gartner quadrant of managed service in North America, it says first Stefanini was promoted off quadrant, and they said much of it is because of the experience they have shown with Sophie within clients, and the fact they made it a reality for so many of our most important customers around the world.
Thank you. We're receiving many questions here. That's really nice.
Good.
Another question we received is from Christoph. How do you measure the adoption rate and the customer experience once implemented? I think you use Power BI for that, right?
Very good question. Actually, it's not Power BI. I mean, depending on the client, Power BI is our standard platform, but I mean, we use Kibana for the SaaS version, and I mean, ClickView or whatever the client wants, because the information is in the database and we can extract from there. But I mean, it's two important things. I mean, one of the challenges we had in the beginning is that the tool was working, but no one was using it. I mean, we had many clients with 3% adoption, 5% adoption. Over the time, we understood two things. First, we need to go to the most important processes. So, I mean, in the past, we started with tiny process, irrelevant process, and the result was no one was using it. Right now, we go straight to the 5 most important processes that we have to support. And then, and Patricia is one of the great responsibles for that, we put together a strong campaign, marketing campaign, saying to the user, you have to change the channel, you have to drop the phone, you have to go to these new tools. That's why we put it on Skype, we put it on Teams, we put it on WhatsApp, we put whatever the user wants. Some of our clients are closing channels, so they say for this kind of request, you cannot go through phone anymore. You have to go to the automated tool. And how do we measure satisfaction? The client has 2 options. I mean, we have a level of satisfaction on the question and on the session. So depending on the client, you might have one of them or both of them, so we know if the client feels supported. And obviously, I mean, there is the creation and handling of tickets. So if the ticket was concluded, we know that we did our jobs.
Thank you. And another question here, I think this one, we were asked about this many times before, but it wasn't. What are the main difference between Sophie and Amazon Alexa or Google Home?
The fact that, I mean, obviously, I will not be extensive about the underlying technologies because it's not very relevant, but the main thing is that we are a company that can support the process end to end. So, I mean, if you go to Amazon and say, look, I have to make this ITO implementation or this AMS implementation here, can you help me? Obviously, you know the answer. Amazon is trying to sell a lot of things right now. Same from Google. I mean, those are not corporate vendors, those companies are not used to the realities of our corporate clients around the world. Their goals are different, and even their goals for those platforms is to help sell goods in the case of Amazon, integrating with many different applications or areas, and Google is to sell ads. Our objective is to make your business run better end to end. So we understand the process, we understand the topology, we understand the integration, we support you during the process of implementation, we support you after the process of implementation. Neither Google nor Amazon nor even Microsoft can do that. So I mean, Louise is also a good tool. So what I would say in the end, I mean, those are excellent tools, but they don't have the corporate experience or drive that we have.
That's our focus, right? Yeah. Let me find another question here. Where are the biggest opportunities for Stefanini with Sophie?
Right now we have a lot of experience, as I said, in many areas. I would go to the client and ask, which of your operation is not running efficiently enough because you have a complex set of operations to be done. So it might be procurement, as I said. It might be logistics. There is always opportunities when it comes to customer care. There is always opportunities on automation of internal areas. So I mean, I would say I have a lot of experience on this. I want to be close to you, and I want to design a solution for you. I think Sophie is allowing us to be closer to this goal we have of being an intelligence consulting company. We are not just selling tools, we are not just implementing tools, but we are getting close to our customers. We are understanding their needs, and we are providing solutions that are very solid, because most of the tools we are using to those solutions are ours. Obviously, we are integrating Sophie with other things, but as we control the core, the process is much smoother right now. We do not depend on anyone, and if we pitch that right, I mean, I make a lot of presentations of Sophie. Obviously, it's very hard for someone to say, I don't have anything to you, thanks, I mean, go away. I mean, we are always opening doors to other areas. I mean, to software development, to BPO, to ITO, because the speech we make makes sense. So I mean, Sophie is a door opener for many other areas.
Okay, thank you. Next question. When you say she can learn, how is she really learning if the content is all previously prepared? Some of content can be prepared before.
What I showed to you was content not previously prepared. I mean, I don't know if it was clear, but I mean, the video I showed you, there was no previous content. But I mean, obviously, this is very new. On any chatbot or any bot, because we are talking voice as well in the world, you have to prepare content before. The problem is not that. The problem is how long it takes for you to prepare the content. How many content can you handle without the tool to get confused, and how can you advance, and how fast can you advance in the adjustments that we do? So I mean, if we compare Sophie with other tools on those aspects, she's very efficient. So I'm not trying to reinvent the wheel until now. We are just trying to do what everybody does in a better way, and we are very competitive. But what you saw is reinventing the wheel. I mean, there was no previously curated content on what you saw. All that she learned on the spot in 30 seconds.
And also the content that we thought to Sophie can also be improved, because Sophie can learn with the interaction with the user that the new concepts, new synonyms, analyzing.
We call that reinforced learning. So I mean, once there is content, I mean, she keeps improving because of the answers of the user. So if they say this is correct, then she knows she's probably correct after a few times. Actually, you set the number of times you want.
Yeah, she can learn with the user as well. Good. Let me find another question here. 1 second. How do you harvest data when integrating Sophie in a new client system?
That's a very good question. We need the client. I mean, we learn now that Sophie or any automation project, it's a four hands. We call. I don't know if you have that expression, but I mean, we need the client to be together with us. We need them to provide information. We need them to walk us through their processes, their difficulties. And it's very detailed. I mean, how many clicks do you need to do something? How many screens do you need to open? How long does it take? If I reduce the time of this particular operations from 4 minutes to 15 seconds, how much money it will save to you, because I have to present to you a return on investment sheet before you make the decision. So it's really a consulting process. It's to hear, it's to be close to the client. It's not any kind of magic. So it's not that artificial intelligence will immediately solve your process. Automation is a reality, but we still need human intelligence to make it work properly.
Great. Let me find another question here. I think it probably is the final one, because we are getting out of time. Let me find one here.
Very good, guys. Thank you for so many questions. I'm honored to answer.
Yeah.
And you know, I mean, that you can always call me and ask me questions, right? I mean, just call me on WhatsApp and I'll be there.
Yeah.
Or Patricia. I mean, you have her right now. I mean, she's the person that understands really. I mean, Patricia is the best manager of Sophie in the world. I mean, she's on it since version 0. And she was always great, and I think you guys are very lucky to have her in Europe. I really think that.
I'm going to turn red here, Alex, please.
No.
Well, I have here one last question. Can you buy Sophie as service, and how long does it take in average to integrate with Microsoft Teams and ServiceNow to position Sophie as a main interface to manage incidents or requests? I think it will depend project by project, right?
Yeah, but I mean, the most projects right now are 3 months. I mean, what we say to the client, particularly this one, so it serves now in Teams. It's both integrations that we are very experienced with. So I would say 3 months, because there is a data harvesting time. It was the previous question. Then there is obviously the process of integration and creation of content. Then there is integrated tests with the client, key users, and we go live. Usually, I mean, our average time is 3 months. It's what we say in our proposals.
Normally, in average, yeah. Let me see if we have more questions.
I'm not looking at the time. I mean, are we still on time? Let me see.
Yeah, I think we have for me.
Yeah, we have 1 minute. Yeah.
Let me find one here. It's about Polymath. Polymath is really new, so we'll launch.
Not release it yet. We'll release next week. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's brand new. But the question is Polymath capable to read and understand also transactional details? Example, to evaluate the transition history of a customer, sorry, in order to give personal finance advisory similar to a PFM.
That's a very good question. I don't know yet. We are actually releasing Polymath right now, reading websites structured in a particularly way. But as I said, it's the first version. The good thing about research and development is that the first version is less capable than the second one. It took us 3 or 4 years to get where we got with Polymath right now. I understand what you say. It makes a lot of sense, but we didn't have the time to make that experiment yet, but we'll keep you posted. Actually, I mean, if you want to send us the challenge, we would love to try.
Perfect. Okay, I think now we are out of time. I thank you a lot, Alex, for joining this webinar with me. For me, it was an amazing experience. Thank you a lot.
Thank you, everybody that is watching it. It's an honor always. Invite me more. It will be a pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.